Welcome to T Boys TV. We are back again with another Hat Show, obviously episode 223. And obviously in this one we have got a lot to get into. Obviously a lot of news has been coming out. Obviously we expected a very spoken about transfer window from our end, and obviously it's been a bit of a lot of outgoings and ingoings so far. And it's been a lot of other stuff going on as well. But first of all, Dad, how are you?
Yeah, all good, mate. Hope everyone's cool. And yeah, a lot to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. But the first thing, obviously, I said my thoughts on it yesterday. It's only right, massive news. Obviously, when it come out on Twitter, got about 1.4 million views, and obviously that is Rob Edwards' departure from Luton. Obviously, it was a matter of time. Let's be totally honest. Like I said, the results it was a repetitive cycle week upon week. So it was a matter of time. But obviously, I said my thoughts yesterday, Dad. What are your final things that you want to say on Rob Edwards?
Unfortunately, it was a matter of time. Um, it just, I think he started struggling. He couldn't turn it around. I've seen some interesting comments from Gary Sweet, um, things like that. Sorry, I was looking at something else. Yeah, but the change was needed. He was looping towards danger more and more. Teams got games in hand, etc., etc. And the away form was just absolutely terrible. And that's the key thing really. Um, I still think he's a good manager. I still think he'll do well. Just think it's just one of them situations which can happen even in life as well. You can go from such a high to such a low quickly, and things can catch up with you. The luckiest situation twice. That does affect things mentally for not just for the manager but for the whole club. And the fact that we got promoted to the Premier League. If you look at what other clubs have done, they do spend big. I know like some clubs outspend and stuff like that, but we haven't really spent any. Do you know what I mean? Not really. And as part of that as well, at some stage, you've got to try and you can still recruit well, but you've got to broaden your horizons. A lot of teams do it by going abroad and stuff like that. And we've started doing that. It's just a whole combination of things. But at the end of the day, like he's still a stand-up guy. Do you know what I mean? He does like the club. Nathan Jones has come back to us. In the past, who in the future, if he starts picking up and starts getting a good reputation and doing stuff, then I'm sure a lot of people will definitely welcome him back because we've still got that connection, which is good. And yeah, I think he's just take a little while out of the game, and then maybe go for someone next season, just enjoy his life and just reset, man, because he is a good guy. So you know what I mean. We should thank him for promotion. See, we'll never forget that. Only manager to do it so far, but still, and it's time for a change. And like I just said, the big things that happen in the club sometimes. You've got to make that change. You've got to make that next step. You know what I mean? Like we have with the stadium. Now you've got to do it internally with. In my opinion, you've got to go for a more recognised manager at this moment in time. You know what I mean? But yeah, I wish him all the best and thank you for the memories. And I'm sure he'll definitely get a job at least League One. And I reckon he'll do all right. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's like when he said in his goodbyes, it's pretty good actually how it was because it's in like three different sections. There's a player one, a fans one, and then there was like another one. I think it was a staff and stuff. And he said he'd love to come back as a fan. More than happy with that. Like I said yesterday, that'd be sick. And like I say, as much as I was, Edwards out for quite a while. After that Sheffield United game, at the end of the day, he's still, was that manager who took us to the Premier League. He finished the pieces that Nathan Jones put for us out on there, and he got it done. And our record in playoffs was quite, until then as well. So you have to really put it on top of that. And then obviously, we did have them good moments. We did, as much as we didn't stay up. I was watching a lot of, the games yesterday, and we gave teams right good games. When I think about it, and that's why it's frustrating this season as well, because we're not. No disrespect to the teams in the Championship. Obviously, they're more physical and stuff, but they're not. They haven't got the quality of the Prem teams.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Prem teams, we were giving games. The better teams as well, like Liverpool. The draw at home. City, we gave them a decent game. Obviously in the league game at home anyway. Arsenal, we gave them a right game. Do you know what I mean? And we're just not. It needed to happen. We'll be honest. I always, appreciate the guy and what he's done for us, but at the same time, it was sort of getting away from how Luton are. Do you know what I mean? It's like Burke said in his interview. When we played Sheffield United away and lost. We need to go back to the basics. We need to be hard to play against, and it was sort of taken that way. I'll be honest, because of the way we were trying to play, attacking football. The three at the back, it was just too exploited for me. And obviously there was the frustrating things like putting players out of position and stuff. But overall, he done fairly decent. It was just this season where obviously it massively dropped off and it needed to change eventually. And I'm glad in that aspect it has. But yeah, like you say, Dad, I said it yesterday, about him going to League One or something. Maybe they have currently got a manager now. Maybe I can see him going back to like Forest Green, maybe, and working. Wouldn't be surprised because they've been in the proper mud, really. Let's be honest, since he's left.
They top of the conference.
They might be, yeah. But obviously, I mean that in the context that they went down from the Football League, so they've been got a Football League, so they've they haven't been great overall. But yeah, I think they're up there, yeah, right now. You never know, you never know. But yeah, if you saw him at a game or something, that'd be pretty sick, But yeah, like I say, we always appreciate everything he has tried for the football club, and I respect that because at the end of the day, obviously, I'm not a manager, so I wouldn't have a clue. But I know it's obviously difficult. And obviously Gary Sweet did mention it, and I watched a bit of it earlier. He said, he was struggling with other things, which obviously he's obviously not going to get into as well. So you've got to look at it as well. Yeah. And it felt like that. I said it yesterday when I was talking about it. It sort of felt like that because even games we won, even though the performances wasn't great, and he was probably a bit annoyed about that, it just didn't look the same. It just didn't really upbeat is the word I'm trying to find. So yeah, just regroup, recover, have time with your family, and then hopefully.
And the thing is as well, yeah, like he's had a relatively kind of short managerial career, done really well for his screen at that moment, brief time Watford and that, and then quite a lot of success really, and then this is probably obviously the first time that he's struggled. He's had to like deal with what's going on there, and it does take a toll. I mean, he's obviously a sensitive guy in that. So there's probably a little bit of that as well. Parts, backroom staff, recruitment, it all does add up to that. Do you know what I mean? So, but we're coming out with him. We're already making moves. We've already signed someone. We'll get into that. Taylor's gone now. We'll get into that. Obviously, interim. You can't just rush and get someone, but there will be someone in place before the Preston game. So yeah, let's move on. As you do. Yeah. But I'm sure, like as you say, he'll always be welcome, and he'll come. What I mean, he'll be there. He's still. At the end of the day, got his promotion, got his fantastic memories in the Premier League. It just hasn't worked out this season for a number of reasons. It's just got worse and worse. I mean, we cannot afford to be getting double, back-to-back relegations. You've seen how other teams do in the past. Yes, they've come back and maybe even gone back to the Premier League and stuff like that. Wolves, Southampton, we're struggling at the moment. Sunderland, you know what I mean? Wigan, I think it happens, but we can't really be affording to do that if we want to continue on the same path and attract these players. Let's go.
Yeah, and to be fair, you even look at League One, especially this year, and there's a lot of teams that you could predict to go up. You know, what I mean, still at this point because there is a lot more, better teams in the league and stuff, especially this season. So a lot of them wouldn't obviously go up next year. So if that did happen, obviously, it wouldn't be great because of that as well. On top of that, so yeah, it had to happen at some point. But yeah, like I say, wish him all the best wherever he goes and stuff when it comes to that. And it's like someone said yesterday, he is a Hatter, he's not Hornet. So, once a Hatter, that's saying, come on.
Yeah, 100%.
Less of that other stuff. And that was beautiful to see. Just off topic, by the way, them getting absolutely slumped yesterday to Fulham. That was great to see as well. But I agree with what Jackie said here. Appreciate him, but I still feel he should have gone earlier. But happy went to mutual agreement. Yeah, exactly. And it was probably always going to be a mutual agreement.
Well, let's clear that up. Let's clear that up because obviously, like, there was rumours that he'd offered his resignation and stuff like that. But probably a bit based on there was social media rumours. Everyone saw that, which was quickly dispelled by the club at that time by them putting the picture up, looking forward to Derby, and then what happened. And he was sort of waving and stuff like that. But yeah, Sweet come out and said that didn't happen. Do you know what I mean? So that's good. Obviously, they probably would have had meetings and stuff. Do you know what I mean? But at no time did that happen. So yeah, that's good to hear, really, because.
And I think I'll be honest, I think Rob Edwards is one of them guys that you just couldn't really have an argument with him. Do you know what I mean? Like, because he's such a nice guy, like I just can't see you going, do you know what I mean? Obviously, they're not going to say that, but it was always going to be like that for me. And again, another thing I just wanted to say quickly is obviously John still got sacked, didn't he? And he still gets standing ovations and that. So and Rob Edwards is obviously a mutual one. So there's no doubt in my mind that he'll come to Kenilworth Road and get an applause or something. I wouldn't be surprised a couple of years or something. He comes on at half time, of a game at home, like John still did. And obviously, we'll appreciate him for that because at the end of the day, like we said, he did take us to the Premier League. As much as he capitalised on what Nathan Jones did, he did get us over the line. And we had a poor playoff record, so you have to give him that credit. And yeah, I do like the guy. I wanted him to succeed, but he was just doing the same things upon game, and I just stopped believing, really, if I'm going to be totally honest, guys. So yeah, there we go. Hanno says, "Is he a legend?" I mean, I guess you sort of have to say yeah because he took us to the Premier League.
Yeah. You got not as a legend as like Mick Harford.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he's still involved in that. Like, involved as exactly the same as John still is. You know what I mean? And but then it's a difficult one. Is Nathan Jones a legend? Do you know what I mean?
A lot of people's eyes
up to that. You know what I'm saying? But he's he failed on the final steps.
Or is he maybe a cult hero, Nathan Jones?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. To be a legend, he probably would have to come back again and then do something special with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'll get promoted or whatever. And then he would be classed as a legend. But at the end of the day, he didn't do that. So
I'll say he's a cult hero, Nathan Jones.
But things happen in life. The Lockyer situation and stuff like that. That adds to the whole situation, the way he reacted and how he was. So that makes you a legend. You don't have to just have success. It's what you bring to the club and how you've been around the club and things like that. Do you know what I mean? Especially being a young, relatively new manager. Let's not forget that this ain't a guy that's been around the club. You know what I mean? And I'd happily, if it, like I say, built up, done really well or whatever, and then we were in the Premier League or whatever, and he was like, I don't know, Championship, whatever, and he was like, no, we've got to come back. It's still young in football, really. So let's see what happens. Yeah,
no, absolutely, I'll totally agree. With that, let's go through some more comments. Big up, Paul. He says, good evening, mate. Hope you're well. Peaches, good to see you in here. Obviously, we have got Nottingham Forest. We'll get into that a bit later. Say on Rob Edwards as well. Gutted but overdue. Lovely parting message from him, though. Very thoughtful. Yeah, and I always felt something was going to come out from him. You know, I thought maybe there'd be a interview released on YouTube. You never know; they might still plan to do something. But you know, like I say, it was obviously a mutual one, so it's not, you know, it's not a toxic atmosphere sort of thing. So I wouldn't be surprised. And again, you know, when you think about it, you know, as much as I did want him to go, it does get a bit emotional a little bit when you think about it, because you want a guy to succeed. You know what I mean? He's a nice guy, and he did make history with us. You know, so it is a bit of a shame, but it had to happen at the same time, didn't it? So it's one of them. A few people putting their school predictions already for tomorrow. We'll get into that a bit later on. Big up to Robert. He says, I appreciate him too, but he still stood as left us last year, in my opinion. Common new hatters. Yeah, fair enough. You know, that's fair enough. And I'll be honest, you know, we all love Ruddock, but I sort of felt, you know, if it's that sort of thing where if he had that penalty against Fulham, you know, he probably wouldn't be at the club as well, sort of thing. But yeah, no, I hear what you're saying to a certain extent with that. You know, he definitely should have went a bit earlier than he did, let's be honest. But yeah, man, good to see you in here. Big up to yourself. Sometimes things can go on too long, tarnish it, but if they're good times and bad, that's how I judge it. Yeah, exactly that. When it comes to that, but yeah, we briefly, you know, said about the little things of who you want, Dad. If you had one you could pick right now, who would you want as the next manager?
See, for me, I don't really want us to risk going in for someone similar to Rob Edwards. You know, at this stage of the season as well. Maybe if it is in the summer, you could do it, but right now, I don't think that's the right move. I think that you need to get someone with a little bit of experience. I know, like sometimes managers end up like, you know, maybe moving on and they're doing well and stuff like that. But you know, you got to take them risks sometimes. Um, yeah, you know, someone, as I've just seen in the comment there, steady the ship and rebuild, basically, right? So I'm leaning towards more like Cooper. I see a lot of it. I liked him anyway. I said to you before. You know, weirdly, I already a couple of weeks ago I already put him on my Luton FIFA game. But I think he's got the more experience in that respect. You know, some people say football's boring. That well, let's see. Do you know what I mean? Maybe he just plays with what he feels he's got at the club sometimes. Someone like that. Or my first choice, it probably is David Wagner. I think he's the kind of, you know, up and coming manager you want. He's got a lot of ideas. He's a fresh, but he's got that little bit of experience as well. Obviously, done really well with Sunderland. Huddersfield. That seems like the obvious choice for me. I don't really want to be seeing Bloomfield. Yes, he's doing well, but he's affiliated with that club. This is his first like proper job. Do you know what I mean? Yes, he is doing well, but this is with, you know, it's a bit risky for me. Our other appointments when we've done that, Nathan Jones, you know, we was in League Two. Do you know what I mean? So it's less risky. Rob Edwards, yeah, we was going for it. That's a bold move. Do you know what I mean? But it paid off. But I feel like this time you've got to have that little bit more experience. Someone to just come in, like fresh ideas. At the end of the day, Rob Edwards come in, but he didn't have to do a lot because of what was built before him. Do you know what I mean? Whereas this time, we need totally restructuring and getting back to how we were, not necessarily the exact Nathan Jones way or the way he's playing last season, but we need to, I think, go about it a little bit differently. And I feel like someone with a more experience will be able to come in and do that, and obviously bring their own backroom staff, because Kyle and that, and they're not going to be there. They'll probably end up going with him to his next job at some point. You know, that's the kind of stuff that kind of happens. Nathan Jones has done it before. So yeah, that's them two really. That but we do sometimes go out there and get someone random in. But Sweets come out, before we go for someone who's out of a job. This time he said we're not ruling out that we'll go someone who's in a job. So it's easy to think, it'd be Bloomfield. Apparently he's got 100k release code, which is it's ridiculous. But that just shows you, that they didn't expect anyone to come in for him, basically. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'd go with someone with more experience. To see. I don't know who the favourite is right now. So if someone can find that out, I know it's changed over the last few days and stuff. But yeah, that's my preference.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, it's interesting. I think Bloomfield might be, because I've seen a lot of Luton pages I follow talk about it, and they're saying since that release clause has been said, that's the most looked at one. But I agree with you. I don't really. There's no disrespect to him. I just don't really want him just because his CV is not too convincing for me. We're in that position now, and it's in League One. Do you know what I mean? We're in that position where we need to stay up. Simple as that. We need to get someone in to keep us up. And you guys know my main priority is Steve Cooper. I think if we got him, that'd be brilliant for us because like I always say, you look at what he did with Forest. They were struggling, got them promoted. I don't think we'll get promoted this year, but I think he can definitely climb us up the table, and then we can sort of build on that next season. Other managers I wouldn't mind. Gary O'Neill, I wouldn't mind him. I'm trying to think of realistic options. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to say Sean Dyche and that. I'm not going to say them. So yeah, it's probably for me, it's Steve Cooper or Gary O'Neill. Obviously, I did say Mark Roberts behind Steve Cooper, but obviously now he's gone to Stoke. So that would be the one for me because Championship experience is really good. I do think he was a bit harshly sacked as well by Leicester, to be quite honest with you. Even look at Forest. He did do well for them predominantly. You look at their season, look how many players they bought.
Yeah.
He managed to keep it up, because that when you have that many players, it can affect you, but it didn't with them.
Well, let's talk about who we don't want, because I've just seen some of my comments.
Okay.
No, Brummy. We don't want Russell Martin.
Yeah, I don't want it.
The teams that he's been, my mate's my colleague is a Southampton fan. Even before the season started, he said they'd go down because he's just plays the same, no matter who he's playing.
I said the same because it reminded me of Burnley last season. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, I don't want that. You need someone who knows how to get points on the board rather than just play tiki-taka football. And they just, for me, not at all. And again, if Bloomfield, you want someone who's a bit, won't take any shit, like Nathan Jones didn't. Do you know what I mean? He'd fume if we lost the game. If we got battered, though, you won't see that again. You didn't see it for a while. You wouldn't lose back.
And we always mentioned that, didn't we, when we had Rob Edwards, and we said about bouncing back because obviously you've seen it a lot longer than me. You felt he was going to do that at times, but we just didn't.
Exactly. So for me, it's got to be someone with a bit more experience and a bit more, won't take any crap. You know what I mean? I think Cooper's a fit, and I think Wagner's a fit. Gary O'Neill, I do like him. Apparently, what we was linked with him before. Would he take a step down, or is he going to wait for another Premier League job? We'll see. I reckon it'd be good for him to step down, take a break from fucking VAR.
Yeah. Wolves, they got it a lot, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's worked better players. I think he's slightly ahead of Rob Edwards. But I also think that you can see players want to play for him towards the end before he got sacked. They were all, they put in, arguing and everything, like, because the decisions that went against them and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, looking at managers here, obviously Steve Cooper, Bloomfield, Schumacher. Would you take Schumacher, Dad? He was quite heavily on there.
Again, yes, he done well with Plymouth, which is a good shout. and kept him up, and then went to Stoke, didn't he? But
Yes.
Stoke don't get managers like anything, man. They're trying not to spend money, and they're just trying to. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not really fussed about that. Again, is he? Nah, I don't think he's got enough experience for me. And I think he'd be better off going back to Plymouth, and I think he might end up keeping him up. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Plymouth, like I said, they are one of them sides, isn't they? Home form. Most of the time you can back them at home to get something. It's just the way they're worse than us. You know what I mean? Didn't think that'd be odd, but they are. So mad. Really, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, like I say, for me, if I could pick, it'd be Steve Cooper. It'd be my one for us. So we shall see. But it's going to be interesting. Like we say, just we both feel if we get Bloomfield, it's a bit like it could be another sort of Rob Edwards situation. Where
Well, on that note as well, guys. Obviously, Wickham are playing tonight.
Tonight is it? Well, that's mad. Oh yeah. They are FA Cup in it. Yeah, of course.
It might be worth watching that to see how he is. Do you know what I mean?
Portsmouth as well. That'd be interesting because that's high League One versus low Championship. So
even your manager, whatever, like if you kind of know it's your last game, you're a bit more subdued and stuff. You might be likely to say bye, and do you know what I mean? And things like that, or overclap. You can't help it. Like if there is talk, for instance, you know what I mean? But not for me, man. But I'm a little bit worried because of what Gary Sweet said. We don't normally go for managers that are employed, but this time we're opening it up, kind of thing. Unless there's someone else who's employed that we're just not even thinking about. I mean, Pep. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
No. You're forgetting about that. You're forgetting about this one. There's a comment. Jose Mourinho, mate.
Yeah, exactly. But it could be someone else that we've just not even thinking about that's doing really well. But then we could mean Nathan Jones. Doubt it. But it's going to be interesting. But for me, I want Cooper or Wagner or O'Neill. Anyone else.
Yeah.
Unless it's, out of the blue and I think, I didn't think of that guy. Or actually, do you know what I mean? But for me, they're like top 3 candidates if you want to be progressing. Obviously, we're not going to get promoted this season, but in place in the summer, you know what I mean? Got that experience. Let's go.
Yeah, this is one I definitely would not take.
No.
Straight up.
He starts off all right, but then I just don't think players respect him. I really don't. I think that's what it
is. Which is mad because of, I know football player and manager is completely different, but you'd think he would get a bit of respect. But
I think he needs to go lower.
I'll be honest, he didn't really help himself at Plymouth, especially when they lost. I think it was when they got absolutely battered to Norwich.
This is what I'm saying. And then you've got
comments like, "Come on, man, the development squad could do better," or whatever he said.
He needs to go lower. Fucking League 2 or whatever, where players are more likely to respect him because of what he's done. Do you know what I mean? Like Championship, that they're a lot of them. The players are arrogant and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Especially nowadays. So I think if you go lower and then do well, get promotions, get finals, maybe win trophies or whatever, then you'll get that on top of the. Do you know what I mean? Then you can build it up. I think that's what it is with some of these big names sometimes, unless they go in, flying. Stephen Gerrard's we just go and get him, mate. That would be a mad one, wouldn't it?
That would be mad. Remember that time he slipped to that interview?
Yeah.
That was against Luton. Talk about that. That was FA Cup game, actually, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So, again, another one who didn't really last long, did he? Yeah, but his was weird, man, going to Spain when you don't really know Spanish as well.
It's even worse,
Yeah, it's like crazy. But yeah, Jackie's on the same wavelength as us. She doesn't want Bloomfield as well. It weren't great, but the way he turned it around for you guys was, phenomenal. And, people say the final's controversial or not. The fact is you done it. You know what I mean? So, I'm not saying we'll go up, like I say, but he could, if we got him in, I believe we could definitely climb up the table. And we need someone with that experience, in my opinion, because if we go for like Bloomfield, he's not been in the Championship. We're in a relegation battle as it is. I just think it's a bit risky, personally. I'm going to enjoy hate watching Sunderland versus Stoke tomorrow. Yeah, fair enough. It's going to be interesting to see that. But yeah, like I say, Wycombe Portsmouth, like you said, that should be quite an interesting game, to be honest. Like I say, taking away the links to Bloomfield, Wycombe are obviously high end League One, Portsmouth are lower end Championship, so it should be quite interesting, when it comes to that. So yeah, someone's here. 1 second, Dad. If you keep convo flowing, 1 second.
Yeah, so interesting game tomorrow. Are we going to make changes? Probably. Are they going to make changes? Probably. I do feel there's less pressure on this game than there would be if we still had Rob Edwards. We'd probably expect him to lose and but this time you just don't know what's going to happen. It's a free hit more so than it was before. I'm hoping to see maybe the new signings get a run out, and we've had good results against them recently. So we'll see what happens. Most of us are expecting to fill the reserve side. Yeah, I think there'll be changes, but I don't think there'll be as many as people are expecting, because we don't need to. You still want these players. Maybe if there is a new manager or someone we want to get in, they could be watching that game as well. You know what I mean? So you kind of want to. So the Taylor's not going to be starting up front, is he? Woodrow, I think, is going to be going as well. So I don't think he'll starting. So you'll see my lineup, but it's going to be interesting formation we're going. I'm half expecting him still to go for it back, not him, but because it's that's what they're kind of used to. But we'll see.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, where do you think Woodrow ends up then? You think he goes? So you reckon it is Wrexham? Because that's the only team I've seen that he's. Well, they were looking at him. They were. They'll put a serious bid in.
They're top of, well, not top, but they're in the top, promotion places. And there's a couple of, well, they've got Elliot Lee there. I think there's a couple players that are kind of affiliated with Luton or whatever, but I think that would be quite a good fit for him, to be honest with you. They're paying the dollar. I think that would be quite a good fit for him. But we won't be starting him. He's definitely not going to be playing games for us now. It's just not going to happen. It's still going to be, whether that happens or not. But I can't see him staying.
Yeah, and I'll say it's going to be very interesting to see. I mean, I have got to that stage with Woodrow now where I just think we need to just part ways, because his goal record's not great. And again, he doesn't comes on in a lot of games, but still, you look at it and you think to yourself, it's not good enough, especially when Rob Edwards was here. Even Lockie has said it, they say he's the best finisher at the club. So based on that, I have high expectations as a fan if they're saying that. And again, he's had a lot of chances this season in games where he's come on. Bristol City, I think he should have done better there. Coventry away, obviously I was at that game. He should have scored there. Brown laid it off to him. You couldn't ask for a better layoff to him, and he didn't quite score it. So there's stuff like that really that I look at and I think we have to part ways really. And it's like, even when we did have Taylor, especially at the start of the season, he was coming on before Taylor. And I'm thinking, well, this guy's like 30 or Taylor's young. We thought it'd be his time to shine, but frustrating. But yeah, talking on Taylor, we might as well talk on that quickly when it comes to that. So obviously I briefly spoke about it yesterday, but I didn't know the fee. And apparently the fee is around about 3 million. I mean, we'll take that for a player that barely played for us, let's be honest. And again, like I say, we're obviously gutted. You had a great say on it the other day, Dad, as well, when it comes to that sort of situation. But any final things you want to say on the Taylor thing?
No, some people are like, oh, we should have kept him. New manager's coming in. He might have liked him. He might have tried him. Da, da, da. But it was obviously agreed before that, and there's more to it. Maybe he wasn't doing anything in training. We'll see. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I expect him to go to Huddersfield and score. But then it is League One. We need to see if he comes in and they get promoted, he comes in the Championship and he starts banging goals. Then you can say, well, what the fuck was going on there? Do you know what I mean? But until then, he obviously wants to go as well. People forget that. We should be keeping him, we should be doing. But maybe he's already made his mind up. If a manager leaves, don't matter. Oh, shall I wait? Just see if he likes me, or someone's come in and go, look, listen, mate, you'll be starting. You're in a promotion race. This, that, and the other. He's going to go, isn't he? Yes, it's undisclosed. We all say undisclosed, but there's various other outlets that kind of estimate. They're generally in the right region. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they're saying 20 million or whatever. It makes sense. So no, good luck to him. We have to wait and see what happens. He had a good reputation, or they were comparing him to Macau Smith. From who used to play for Peterborough and things like that. Yeah, we've got high hopes for him. Put him out on loan, done the business. But something clearly happened as well that we don't know about. Do you know what I mean? Because there's maybe an attitude. Who knows? Like, there's got to be a bit more to it than just that. Because we fully expected him, and in any other circumstance, they would be. If we loan someone out, they're doing well. But I don't know. There's something in the stats. I said this before. Like, they're reading too much into it. Who's the other guy we had? He done all right out on loan. Scored some banging goals in that as well.
McAtee.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's injured now. But who's he playing for now? Because I haven't really heard much about him.
Yeah, he's playing for Bolton.
Is he?
Hmm.
Yeah, well, I haven't really heard much this season, and they've just signed someone as well. I think someone from Peterborough. Midfielder Randall. So yeah, I don't know, but let's see what happens. At the end of the day, I don't know how much pay for him initially, but they would have had a sell-on clause, so we've probably made money on him. Maybe not as much as probably could have done if he'd started doing well and that, but you can take the hit, don't you?
Yeah, and it's like I said yesterday. I've got no doubt in my mind that he'll go there and smash it up because, Huddersfield are better than Lincoln.
Yeah, and
he nearly got Lincoln in the playoffs. Huddersfield have got experience as well, yeah, especially for that league. So I've got no doubt in my mind that he'll score. And, they obviously see something in him. Obviously, we did as fans, but they see something in him to try and go for him again. Obviously, they tried to get him in the summer as well. So they clearly see a way that he's going to work in their system and stuff. So, yeah, wish him all the best. And obviously there was them alleged rumours that he did have a bus up with Doughty as well. So maybe that could have played a part, in the situation. Maybe. Who knows? Because obviously Doughty is, well, especially under Rob Edwards, he was more of a favourite, wasn't he? So maybe that has something to do with it as well, potentially. Because it was weird just seeing him not coming on it at times. And he did towards the end, but still wasn't really enough to really showcase his ability. But, like I said yesterday, no bad words to say on Taylor. Wish him all the best. And, he'll be a massive part of that team for sure. No doubts about that. But so obviously that's one outgoing. One incoming, is Isaiah Jones from Middlesbrough. Obviously, there was rumours circulating the other day. It was between us and West Brom to get him. And we've ended up getting him. And obviously, he can play right wing back and right winger. He's a right-sided player, predominantly. But hopefully now, whoever the new manager is, they go back to the basics. They play a back four, and he doesn't have to be part of that back four because think about it, guys. We've got Riyad Walters I'm just basing it on the right side. Riyad Walters. We've got Hashioka. And then we got, even though it's not his main position, we've got Burke who can go there as well. Them type of players. We do not need to be putting him there for me. I was surprised when we first rumoured with him because obviously, in this transfer window or just transfer windows as a whole, a thing that attracts the players as much as, maybe being closer to home or whatever and stuff is the manager, who was going to be there. And this did sound like a Rob Edwards type signing, because he did predominantly play a wing back. When he stopped playing for Middlesbrough, it's because they've changed their formation. They went to a back four. When he used to play a lot, they played a back three. So it's quite interesting in that department. But, it looks like we are hopefully going to change it up. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what we go with tomorrow because obviously it's still Rob Edwards' assistant. So going to be in charge, aided with Mick Harford as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what they go for, to have a glimpse maybe of what the new manager's going to put in. Hopefully they do something like that and have a little play around because I'm taking it as a free hit, like I've said to you lot. But yeah, it's going to be interesting in that department. But yeah, obviously he's come in and I'm going to read a bit about him that is on the website about Isaiah Jones. So he's a right-sided attacker, like I say, 25, arrives at Kenilworth Road after spending 5 successful seasons on Teesside. This is what he said. I think it's the perfect move for both parties, said the town's new man. The project here, the success the club's had over the past couple of years and moving back down south is an attractive proposition for me. Obviously Middlesbrough's right up there in the country. So, again, that plays a part. Like I say, he might be closer. He might have a lot more family down here. Who knows? But obviously that's played a part of the move. He also says this season's been tough for Luton so far. There's a really strong squad here, and hopefully I can put a smile onto the fans' faces. They always get asked what type of player are they. He says, I'm direct, skillful, and I like to give the crowd something to cheer. Can't wait to get started. He started his career with Tooting and Mitcham United, and his performances as a teenager for non-league sides sent scouts flocking to Imperial Fields. In 2019, he made the move to Middlesbrough, eventually breaking into Borough's first team in the 2021-22 campaign. He contributed 9 assists in 47 games in a season that saw them finish 7th in the Championship and reach the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. The following season, he scored 3 goals and laid on 5 more, helping Borough reach the Championship playoffs. The season the Hatters obviously won promotion. He enjoyed his best goal-scoring season last season, hitting 9 goals and contributing 5 assists in all competitions as they finished 8th in the second tier and reached the semi-finals of the League Cup. This season, he was called up for international duty for the first time. Started 8 times and made 12 appearances as a substitute for Michael Carrick's side as well. And also, he's going to wear number 25 and he's going to be available for the FA Cup game. So that's good to hear. After saying all that, Dad, how happy are you with this signing?
Yeah, like to me, it looks like pretty decent. I've heard that a lot of this season he was a bit of both. I think Dalak come in and just he's real quality, so he just took him out of the game. And also, I think he's had personal problems and he does live closer to us. I ain't got no clue where, but obviously, that's what I've heard. And his record's pretty decent. But you have to be using him in that forward outlet for me. You said that he's good friends with Bell, apparently. So he's probably, you know what I mean? But I think from what I've seen of him, I think he's a good signing, actually. And, 5 million, whatever, 3 million with add-ons. I think it's quite good. He's only 25. I'm not expecting to make his debut tomorrow.
Yeah, same here. And again, like I say, hopefully we utilise him how we haven't quite utilised players over the years. You could say Moses this season to a certain extent. Chio, when he was here, not playing him as much as he can play a wing back. We want to see him higher.
I just want to say,
like I say, just quickly, you've got options there. You know what I mean? You've got, like I said, Hashioka, Walters. It's not Burke's main position, but he can play that right side. So you've got them players. So I don't really want to see him. I want to see him up there. Yeah, especially with him last season getting his highest goal scoring career all time record. You know what I mean? I want to see him getting up there, getting goals alongside Morris, Elijah, etc.
But yeah, you're saying like he's friends with Bell. Where did you hear that?
I just see it. I see it all over the place, and I know Bell was really happy when he signed.
Okay, yeah, because I think I've seen it on a social media site, and I vaguely remember it as well. When Bell got sent off, it was because he had 2 fouls on him. So I was thinking, sure, but you know what I mean. But that's interesting competition there. But if you that will help a lot as well, and that's probably what persuaded him also. Um, we could have a new song, Bell on the left, Jones on the right. You know what I mean? I don't know, but yeah, I'm intrigued because you need a goal scoring forward who can cut in and stuff like that, because that's what we have been lacking as well. So yeah, I think it's a good signing, and I think he'll hit the ground running. To be honest with you.
Yeah, and hopefully now, whoever the new manager is, we come in and utilise wingers, because we have got wingers at the club and we don't use them. You know what I mean? He can play as a winger, Chong can play as a winger. I'd probably say Nelson can as well. You know what I mean? You have got players that can do that. So hopefully going forward we do that. But first of all, go back to the basics and play back full. Hopefully, and like I say, hopefully tomorrow we see a bit of a glimpse of that. As much as obviously Trollope and that are not going to be there going forward. Obviously, Mick Arthur's going to be aided there as well. So hopefully, they have a little play around with what because obviously Mick Arthur will know ins and outs, of course. So hopefully he sees as a little tinker for the new manager sort of thing, and plays how they'll play. And then based on that, if people do their research, you might get a glimpse of who we might actually get potentially. But we'll see. We'll see when it comes to that. But yeah, that is, a good signing if we utilise it right, I feel. I know a lot. I mean, a few Middlesbrough fans have said what they said, but a lot of their fans are just get salty. I'll be honest. Like, when we got to the playoff final, they were salty at us in Coventry. You know what I mean? No one's going to watch this. You know what I mean? It's not obviously all their fans. It's just a certain minority, but I have seen genuine ones say they are gutted that he's gone. And when you get them goal contributions, in your last couple of seasons, I think you are a good player. And he got called up for his nationality. I'll be honest, no disrespect, they're not obviously one of the better teams in the international stage, but still, he's got called up for them. And Bell obviously, did have a part to play in this, you could say, as well, which he has with a few other players as well when you think about it over the years, especially like Kaminsky and stuff as well, obviously being at Blackburn before, stuff like that as well. So we shall see what happens, but yeah, that is that when it comes to all of that, and I think that's everything I wanted to discuss before we got into the game. So let's get into the game. Nottingham Forest tomorrow. I mean, last year it became a bit of a rivalry, didn't it? A bit of a relegation battle rivalry, if we're being honest, in the Premier League. But obviously, we are taking them on at their ground. I mean, games over the years have been close. I do remember that year we went there and drew 0-0. It was a season they went up, actually. And we were very unlucky not to win that. It was a midweek game. I think Clark had a great opportunity to score, if I remember rightly, in that game. But then, obviously, last season, we drew to them both times. The away game, that was brilliant. The comeback anyway. We thought we were down and out, let's be honest. But then we come back, obviously, the subs are very impactful in that game. Elijah getting the late equaliser. And then, obviously, we played them at Kenilworth Road. Ideally, I remember going into it, we needed to win, really. Even though they had the points deductions looming, I think at the time we didn't quite get that win. Berry got a late goal, but obviously it wasn't enough throughout the whole season for us, and that was one of the vital games, especially towards the end. So they have been close games, and then even the game where they went up, we beat them 1-0 at Kenilworth Road. I was at that game as well. It's quite a tight game. So they tend to be like that. But a bit of insight going into it when we play Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup. Nottingham Forest and Luton have been drawn together 3 times before in the FA Cup. The first of which saw the Tricky Trees win 2-1 during the 1959 Cup final at Wembley. Nottingham Forest have failed to win any of their last 6 competitive games against Luton Town, drawing 4, losing 2 since a 3-1 victory at the City Ground in January 2020. Luton are unbeaten across their prior 3 away games against Nottingham Forest. That's what I mean. Winning 1, drawing 2, and will be looking to remain unbeaten across 4 such matches in succession for the first time. After winning 5 successive home FA Cup matches between 2018 and 2022, Nottingham Forest are since winless across their last 4 at the City Ground, drawing 2 and losing 2, with the latest seeing them lose 1-0 to Manchester United in last season's 5th round. And then this one, it's not great to hear. Luton have failed to progress in any of their last 5 FA Cup ties when playing opposition from a higher division since a 1-0 win over Portsmouth in November 2017. So, a few that factor us there, and then obviously there's a few that factor Forest. A bit more on it. Obviously, like I say, Paul Trollope, Richie Cole, aided by Mick Arthur, take charge of the squad. And then Nottingham Forest, they obviously sit 3rd in the Premier League, which is crazy, having won their last 6 consecutive games, so they're on red hot form. They just survived relegation to the Championship, obviously last season, finishing 17th with 32 points in total. This season, however, the Reds have had a flying start, winning 12 and drawing 4 of their first 20 Premier League games, defeating the likes of Liverpool, Tottenham and Aston Villa. Obviously, Liverpool have only lost twice since Arne Slot's come in. One of them was obviously to Nottingham Forest, the only one in the Premier League as well. And then on Monday, Forest visited Wolves, where they convincingly won 3-0, played on the same day as us, with the goals coming from Gibbs White, Chris Wood and Awanoyi when it comes to that. And then obviously last time we met 1-1, like I say, at Kenilworth Road. Referee will be Darren England, so that's great. 68 yellow cards, 3 red cards have been handed out by him. And then he refereed the Premier League fixture between Arsenal and Ipswich, where he handed out 2 yellow cards. We last had a game run by him, obviously, last season when we played Forest, ironically, back in March, where he handed out 3 yellow cards. So, playing a Premier League team, you get a Premier League ref, and they're just shite. So, he's probably not going to be a great on top of that. But, like I say, Dad, are you feeling like a bit more confident because of
definitely, like,
obviously not quite a manager, but slight change?
Well, there's a few factors. Obviously, the manager's gone. Sometimes that gels the team on. I think their manager got manager of the month. Sometimes that curse happens in the next game. We got a good history against them recently. These are the sort of teams we was used to playing last season, so maybe that'll just make the players switch on automatically because that's what they were used to. So I think it's either going to go that way or we're going to get absolutely battered. And then if I say, "Wow, this is the job that you've got to come in and sort out," do you know what I mean? But I don't think it's that deep because I do think we have got quality in the team. So I'm feeling confident that we'll put a good performance in and maybe even snatch a draw.
Fair enough. I mean, I can't remember what it does if it's a draw this year. Does it go penalties? Because I don't think there's replays, is there?
I think it's extra time and penalties.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone knows in the chat, do let us know. Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see when it comes to that. Will Doughty be back, says Peaches. Please say no. Sorry, I know you want him back. I don't know, because I thought he'd be back for QPR, and he wasn't. As far as I'm aware, I haven't seen any news on him or anyone. He's meant to be back in the new year. So, I don't know. I'll be honest. He might be, he might not be. I couldn't tell you right now if I'm going to be honest. Obviously, Caden's in the chat loving it. I knew he'd be in the chat at some point on something. But he says, big up Luton, thank you for Taylor. Yeah, he'll do well for you guys, man. 100%. I've got no doubt about that in my mind. And again, I mean, I said that with Luke Berry at Charlton. It's not quite worked the same. But, nah, it was different. Definitely. And you guys have been chasing him for ages. So you clearly see something, like I say, that your manager believes he'll work in your system and stuff. So, yeah, man, good luck to him. History states it'll be a draw and go to pens. It goes straight to penalties, does it? Oh, God, penalties. I mean, we have got better at penalties over the years. I mean, last time we went in penalties, so we did lose to QPR. So, we shall see. So, yeah, it's crazy. No, it's actually, like, jokes aside, I mean, I have to give a lot of credit, to be doing that. Like I say, the only Liverpool have lost once in the league, and that's to you guys. I mean, at Anfield as well. You went to Anfield and won. I have to give you credit for that. And it's going to be very, very difficult, especially with how poor we've been away. And again, obviously, there's been a slight change, not quite a manager in yet, but a slight change. So maybe it might be closer than we would have anticipated a few weeks ago, for example, when this was announced. So yeah, we shall see. But other people putting their score predictions, obviously, I will get into them. We'll get into our lineups. Do put in your lineups in the chat as well. So it's interesting going into this game because like I say, I'm taking it as a free hit. So I've rotated. I've still kept a lot of main players in. I've rotated quite a bit, and I've actually gone with a different formation. And again, I hope they experiment that tomorrow for the new manager when he does come in. I've actually gone with a 4-1-3-2 formation. So quite interesting because I'm just a bit skeptical still with one up front, especially if it's like Morris who hasn't got that pace to get in behind. So I've gone Crawl in goal. Obviously, they put on the social medias him on the next up, and again they put it with Kraus against Sheffield Wednesday, and he didn't start. But Crawl's the keeper. Keeper's one position, isn't it? So I think he will be in goal. I think we will give Kaminsky a rest. I got no problem with that. As much as Crawl, he ain't been great, really, if we're going to be honest. The last couple of games he's played for Luton, I wouldn't mind it. Like I said, I'm taking it to free hit. Use him at some point. If Shea was available, would have went with Shea, but I will go with Crawl. I've gone back four, like I say. I've gone Bell on that left side. I would have said Johnson, but he wasn't on the bench against QPR. So I just don't know if he's going to be available. But if he is, got no problem with it. Obviously, the FA Cup last year against Everton, he had that really good cameo when he come on. Holmes, go with the experienced centre back. I can't really think who else. I don't want to. I want to rest McGuinness for this game, and I've gone Anderson. Anderson for some minutes. He was on the bench against QPR. He didn't quite come on, so give him a run out in the cup. Hashioka on the right again. He's had a lack of minutes at the moment, hasn't he? So that's my reasoning going with him. And then I've gone one, obviously, CDM, as you can see there. I have gone with Lamine Funny, put him a bit deeper. I mean, I was debating to go Nakamba, but I'm gonna go with Lamine. I'm going to see what he can do in this type of game. It's going to be very difficult, especially for him who's obviously trying to adapt to English football. And again, the other day he was a bit higher up, which I didn't like to see. Seeing that he is a defensive-minded midfielder, so let's put him there. And then the players alongside, I've put Jones straight in. It's not like a Pete situation where he has to get up to match fitness. I would put him straight in because he has been in and around the Middlesbrough squad before he come to us. He was on the bench, things like that. So he's available. Like they said there as well when I was talking about him, he's in selection. So use him, man. Use him. Let's see what he can do. Chong on the other side, put him higher up. He was slightly better against QPR. Still a few moments, but he was much better in the game because he was higher up. And then I've gone Clark as the cam. Again, a lot of that comes down to the set pieces as well. Obviously we've seen Nelson taken, but I haven't obviously put Nelson in. I was debating to instead of Chong, but I've gone with I've gone with Chong instead of Nelson. Clark there, and then the two up front. Obviously, if Taylor was still here, I would have said Taylor and Woodrow. But I'm going to go Elijah. I'm going to go with one of the main sort of strikers, and then I'll give Woodrow a run out. Again, like I say, I'm taking it as a free hit. Let's rotate it so much. Not so much, but let's rotate it a little bit, give players minutes. And the serious game is obviously Preston. I don't think, let me know in the chat. I mean, are you taking this as a free hit? Do let me know. But that's my lineup going into this game. As for your lineup, Dad, there you go. That's yours.
Yeah, so I've got like 3-1, 4-2. I've also gone Crawl. I do believe he'll start. Back three, so I've kept McGuinness in there. I think you're gonna have some experience in the back line. I've put Hashioka and Anderson in there as well. I've definitely flipped it there. Then I've sat Nakamba in front of him. I think he needs more minutes as well, and this is a perfect game for him to get that. Jones is getting his debut in his natural position. Doughty, if he's fit, he'll be starting now. I would have thought.
Get me
Yeah, Kraus. I know it's kind of free, but Kraus and Lamine can both get forward as well. Yeah, so I've put them two in there, and then I've gone, fully up front with Morris. I think, and Elijah scored against them before. It's a free hit, like you say, and this might help get their confidence up as well. So who knows? It's going to be a match. But one thing we can agree on, I think Krul will be in goal, and Jones will make his debut.
Whether that's starting or not, definitely.
And one of them strikers will start. Anything else, we don't really know. But I expect us to stay with three at the back. That's what I'm saying.
And if I'm being honest, that midfield you've gone with, I wouldn't mind to see that against a Premier League team in Forest because, like you say, them two can go forward, and they have done that. And you got Nakamba behind him, and that is, especially on strength and being better defensively, that is the best midfield. Them three.
That is good. If you look at that and they're on form, them players, that's a good midfield.
Because as much as Lamine's got to learn and stuff, he did have good glimpses. I'll tell you what I did like from him the other day, the shots he was having. The first one he probably should have done a bit better. But the second one, that weren't a bad effort. I like that he kept trying to go for it. And as soon as he adapts, he will be good. Again, you've got to remember he's 20, he's still got a lot to learn, as well on top of that. But there was good signs, as much as, I said he still needs to adapt. There was good little signs from him. So we shall see what happens on that. But that's fair enough. That's fair enough when it comes to that. Peaches says on a game, expecting our reserves to play this match as Liverpool's next year, and that's quick actually. That's on like Tuesday, isn't it? So that's
they will 100% rotate, and they probably will make a lot of changes. But they're still, they'll have still are decent players there. But we've got some, if we mix it up a little bit, then we can match them because effectively it's their reserve. Do you know what I mean? And you can say really they are punching above their weight in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? He is a good manager, would scoring goals. You've got some good forward attacking players and stuff. But your reserve team is definitely not as strong. Do you know what I mean? So I think it'll be a lot closer than people are thinking.
Yeah, especially now with departure of Edwards, we do expect it. As much as we haven't got a manager in yet, I just think it will be slightly different.
There's no pressure. There's no pressure. Maybe a little bit of pressure. You're trying to play for your new manager or whatever. But the new signing, there'll be no pressure on him. Certain players there'll be no pressure on because they're pretty much guaranteed like starters and stuff like that. So yeah, I think he'd be closer than people think.
Yeah, much closer than I think as well. Then we said that when we reacted to the draw, I'm feeling like it's going to be slightly closer this time round. When it comes to that, but yeah, you guys got Liverpool. Like I say, that's on Tuesday, so that's quite a quick turnaround. That's a big game.
Yeah, it is.
If you beat Liverpool again, I wouldn't put it past them. If they can beat them at Anfield, Liverpool. The other day they weren't great. Yeah, the goal. The guy who scored, he shouldn't have been on the pitch, but still, they weren't great. They were so lackluster, which is weird. Now it's always weird watching. Obviously, Man City had a bit of a ongoing situation with it, but it's weird when you see like them sort of teams lose, even if it's like one game. You beat them at Anfield, so I wouldn't put it past you. Even last season, Liverpool just about beat them. They scored right at the end, didn't they? Nunes. So it's going to be a tight game for sure. We are super light in midfield at the moment when in terms of reserves and injuries. Expecting it to be Yates and Ward-Prowse. Yeah, Ward-Prowse obviously, was a massive part of West Ham games against us. All right, he had that controversial handball. He did score, I think, didn't he, in the 3-1 game? He got an assist or something. So, I forgot he was there, if I'm going to be honest, too. I watched the highlights the other day. I was like, oh, my God, yeah, he'll definitely do something, probably. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It'll be a tight game for sure, says Peaches. But, yeah, moving on to that time, score predictions. like I say, Dad, you're anticipating a closer game. You still think it will be another defeat, unfortunately, though?
No, I think it'll be a 2-2 draw, and Luton are going to win on penalties. I'll say that penalties because we are crawling goal, but I think Sells.
I mean, the World Cup. Remember the World Cup? He was sick in the penalty shootout for the Netherlands.
And it depends who they've got in goal, but if it's Sells, Kaminsky and Sells are teammates in Belgium, I think, and he'll have a bit of information on him. And I don't know. Do you know what I mean? So I think Krul's a good shot stopper. So I think we'll go for not necessarily a massive shock, but I think we're going to win on penalties. I do.
All right, fair enough. Unfortunately, I'm going to say a closer game than I would have said a couple of weeks ago, but I'm still going to go for a defeat. I'm going to say a 2-0 defeat. I don't like to say that we won't score, but I don't know. I think we have chances, but then they'll just punish us. Well, one of them type of games, unfortunately. And again, like we say, especially if you're basing it on the history books, they are close games, so you probably are anticipating another one. I'll be honest. If we still had Edwards, I would probably say quite a convincing loss. I'll be honest, especially about they're doing in the Prem and how poor we were away. But maybe it could be a slight glimpse of a change, but maybe still not enough. But we'll see. We'll see. If we won on penalties, that'd be great. To be honest, to be a bit nervous. But yeah, we shall see. Let's go through predictions. Peaches also says, don't think it'll be Sells. Imagine it'll be the backup one. Yeah, fairly. Yeah, probably. I would be surprised if he played Sells, to be honest. 3-1 Forest, says Lennon. Yeah, that's not great. I was thinking of that, to be fair, if I didn't say 2-0. 1-0 Luton Morris. I mean, we got late goals last time we went there, and it was 2-2, like you said, Dad, last time. So you never know. I mean, we are a bit, especially in the recent years, we are a bit of a bogey team to Forest as well. So you never know. Morris late minute, that'd be limbs. And we do like late goals this season, and even last season in the FA Cup, Woodrow at Everton as well. So maybe 4-1. Is that? I'm guessing that's a defeat. I'm guessing. Do let me know, Paul. Jackie's gone 2-1 to Forest. Yeah, that's fair enough. Harry's actually gone 2-1 win to Luton. And I know he hasn't backed Luton a lot in recent weeks, especially, like I have. But he's actually gone with us to win 2-1 in 90 minutes. Fair enough. That'd be a great away win, to be fair. Imagine that'd just be typical, wouldn't it? We can't beat teams that are, no disrespect, that you're worse than Forest, and then we beat your Premier League team. It just would be a surprise, wouldn't it? 2-1 Forest, Hart, 2-1 Luton head. Okay, fair enough. Actually, we might get a win. That's quite interesting, potentially. Spencer's gone 3-1 Forest. Yeah, fair enough, mate. Yeah, let me know, how are you feeling? Obviously, you got Forest next. How are you feeling about that? So, yeah, there we go with that when it comes to that. But, yeah, your 2 goal scorers, Dad. I can't go over goal scorer.
I'm going to go Elijah and McGuinness.
Okay. So, McGuinness to get back-to-back. As much as he scored, man, I just think, I should have scored that other chance. So hopefully you have a little redemption sort of thing. Not quite like a Liam Walsh sort of thing, but just redemption there. Who did you say the other one? Morris.
Elijah,
yeah. Elijah's got that goal at City Ground, didn't he, last time round? So yeah, fair enough. I can't blame you, mate, to be honest. I really can't blame you. But yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, Dad, any final things you want to say before we wrap up?
Yeah, I'll just see Emily's comment. I don't know if you read it out.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I didn't see that.
We will have quality on the bench. If Forest look like losing, they'll bring on the big guns. Yeah, and reserves are fighting, starting the Prem games. Yeah, I can see that. As well because of how successful and they want to be part of that. But if we put up a fight, then they've got to be up for it as well. So we'll see about that. But yeah, interesting. But I do think it'll be a lot closer than people think anyway.
Yeah, and like I say, if you're basing it on a history-wise, they are close games. So there's no reason why they can't be. And we are in a transitional period now. So it might be one where, like I say, they give it a go with what they have the ideas of what the new manager will have, because Mick Arthur will have a basis, like I say. and then we'll try and test that out basically and see how that goes. But I don't think we'll be as open. And even, I know he's not the main one tomorrow, but Mick Arthur, when he has took charge of games, we have done all right. Interims over the years. I remember obviously you're playing different opposition back then, but Accrington, 3-0, 3-0 win. I remember watching that together, Dad. Even the 1-1 against Rotherham, which was a bit of an underwhelming performance because Rotherham were poor that year, but still, we didn't lose. So, it could be a close game, and I think it will be closer, as much as I've gone with a defeat. Harry's goal scorers gone Elijah and Chong, and then Ward-Prowse for them. Yeah, you reckon Chong will step up? Okay, fair enough. That would be interesting to see. Reserves don't play together often. They won't have the same chemistry as the main 11 yet, exactly. We'll have that advantage, yeah, exactly. And the amount of injuries we have, our reserves are sort of more used to playing with each other in that sense as well, on top of that. So, it's getting a bit better, but we still don't know on, Doughty, Burke, players like that as well. So we shall see. But anything else, Dad, you want to say before we wrap up?
No, I'm looking forward to it. It's a free hit, nothing to fear. Mick Arthur will definitely be talking in changing rooms and that. They'll probably do it for Rob Edwards as well, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and that's quickly what I want to say. A lot of the players, obviously put out nice messages yesterday with Rob Edwards. Bell put out good pictures. Yeah, some of the pictures are pretty cool, actually. The player final one with Bell, one of them, that was a good picture. Mengi had a good one with him as well. They all said their appreciation. So they will be gutted. They will 100%. They'll be gutted. And again, it shows what the club's about. Do you know what I mean? In the sense of the togetherness and stuff. We will be gutted for him. We are. I was watching videos after. It gets emotional. It does. But it had to be the right thing. It had to be done, and we have to. Well, for me, we have to get someone with experience now because we are in a relegation battle, and for me, we can't be affording to get someone who's done really well in League One for half a season, guys. I just think it's a bit risky, personally. Hopefully, I'm proven wrong if we did get him in, but we'll see. I'll definitely keep an eye on that Wickham game tonight and see what happens in that. But yeah, man, big up to everyone that tuned in. Obviously, I was going to do a preview of Daw, but work commitments, he's not been able to. So obviously, we've done this early one, me and you, Dad. So yeah, there'll be nothing else tonight except probably a short in a bit. And then obviously, as for tomorrow, we are going to do a vlog from home. We're going to do a vlog from home again to the Forest game. So do check that out. Obviously, we did do one to Bristol City. Obviously, I didn't go too great. So we'll be back again with that. So obviously, do check that out when that drops. And then there'll be a hat show in the coming days. To react to this, and then we can do the same thing Friday. Get straight into that massive game against Preston, which I will be at. So new manager's first game, whoever that is, I will be there. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. And I'll be in the new stands. I might even be near him again, like I was with Edwards a few times. So that'll be pretty cool. See what that's like. But yeah, obviously we'll get into all of that nearer the time. Big up to everyone that's tuned in. Do smash a like. Big up to everyone that has smashed a like. Do smash a like if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And yeah, man, check everything that's been out on the channel the last couple of days. And yeah, like I say, subscribe to all the socials. Follow all the socials, whatever you want to call it. Subscribe to the extra channel. And yeah, we'll wrap it up on this comment from Peaches. Great preview. Cheers, guys. All the best apart from the next match. Yeah, same to you as well. Big up to yourself, Peaches, as always, for tuning in. And yeah, until next time, which is tomorrow from us two, we will see you lot in a bit. Take care and peace. Come on, Luton. Start of a change. Let's make it count.